For many, retirement is one of the scariest situations facing them. And for the most part, I've worked with husbands and wives, couples planning for retirement, and it is a scary thing. So imagine trying to do it by yourself, where you used to have a spouse, but now you're all alone. And this is a situation that I had from a recent reader. She's a widow, she wants to retire. She has a few questions and she's just not sure what the right thing is to do. So I do my best to answer her questions and hopefully help you out if you find yourself in a similar situation. And we're going to address all of this and more on the latest Good Financial Sense podcast. What is going on, GFC fam, Wealth Hacker Nation? It is time to make your life more. It is your grateful host. It's your boy, Jeff Rose. And this is, once again, a new part of the podcast where I want to answer your questions. That could be anything with investing or retirement or online entrepreneurship, productivity. Maybe it's just about parenting, which I don't know if I'm the person to give any advice to, but I think I do okay as a father of 4 crazy kids and also those beautiful 2 puppies. But if you have an interest in submitting a question, you can head on over to wealthhackerlabs.com/ask. And this is the page. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can see the page. Here you can submit a text question if you want to use the contact form. You can also submit an audio question. You can record up to 90 seconds. Just hit that start recording button and ask away. Once again, that is at wealthhackerlabs.com/ask if you want to ask that question. But today's question, which is somebody that submitted a question, and this is coming from Sherry. So she asked this question and she finds herself in a situation that unfortunately, like a lot of people find themselves in. And this is actually a situation that recently my mother-in-law found herself in. My father-in-law passed away last year. So now she is a widow trying to plan for, she was already retired, so in her situation, a little bit different, but in Sherry's situation, she wants to retire. So this is her question. So Sherry asks, do you have any advice for a widow of 57, hopefully to retire in 10 years? She says, I have an annuity that I can draw out in 2.5 years. Not sure what to do with it at that time. Now, if you're reading this with me, you're probably wondering, like, wow, how is Jeff actually going to answer this question? Because it's a hard question to answer because I don't have a lot of information. I have some information. I know that she's 57. She wants to retire in 10 years. She has an annuity, and that's really about it. This is definitely one of those. It's hard for me to give any specific recommendations because I don't have enough information here, but I did want to try to address this as best I can and just to give you some things to ponder, questions to dive in deeper and really start getting at the meat of like, okay, what are we really trying to solve? Because what I see here, like when I see this question, ultimately, like what I see, okay, is she asking about the annuity? Is she asking, can she retire in 10 years? What is the real question? And to me, the question here is trying to address uncertainty. Right now, she just doesn't know, like, can she retire? Should she retire? And really at the root of this, the real question is, am I going to be okay? Am I going to be okay? And I've been doing this long enough that, that's what I see. Like that's the real question, that Sherry wants to know, because it's the real question that many of us want to know. Are we going to be okay? Are we going to have enough money? Are we going to run out of money? And, this is verified because there was a study done. This was done, I think, by Transamerica. I'll show you the study if you want to check it out. So this was like a retirement study done by Transamerica several years ago, and where they're looking at different types of retirees, whether it be Gen X, Gen Y. And in the study, it was revealed that the number one concern out of all retirees is, are they going to run out of money? Or are they going to have enough money to last a lifetime? And I'm sure like that makes sense, right? I mean, maybe if you are a Gen Y, you're not worried about that yet. Maybe even Gen X, you're not worried about that yet. I assure you, baby boomers, this is their concern. And once you hit that, once you get that age, this is going to become your top concern. Are you going to run out of money? So I could sit here and I could try to answer this question of, I have an annuity, not sure if I should draw it out in 2.5 years, not sure what to do with it at that time. Can I answer that question right now? Absolutely not. I can't answer that question, but what I can do is say or suggest, like, here is how I would start. Like, what would be more or less step one in what to do? And for step one, this is where I would suggest we would do some sort of financial inventory, just putting down all of our assets, all of our liabilities, basically doing a net worth statement so that we have a good understanding of what we actually have. What do we have to work with? I think about like if you were, going on a trip, more not like a road trip, but like go like on a hiking trip, into the mountains. You'd want to like make sure before you pack that you had all the essentials. You had your water and you had cold weather gear and a change of clothes, change of socks, food, maybe some flares, a first aid kit, just all these different items. And obviously, if you're not sure what you should have, this is when we are seeking the help of a financial professional, someone to help us to make sure that we do have what we need. I guess you wouldn't need a financial professional if you're going on a hiking trip, but I think you get the point, right? A hiking professional, an outdoor professional. So here we would do a financial inventory, and you could do it the easy way, the old school way of just taking out a pen and paper. Maybe you have this already together. Where we're looking at our savings accounts, our cash, our bank accounts, our retirement accounts, IRAs, the annuity, and just taking a look at all of the assets that we have that we could potentially either liquidate or draw an income from. And if you want an easier way or a simpler way that you can do this, one of my favorite platforms is Personal Capital. When I was still a practicing financial advisor, one of the tools that I craved for the longest time was having an easy platform where I could sync all of my clients' accounts so that I could see and they could also see, what they had, where it was, what was the current balance, the value, and it would update on a consistent basis. Now I ended up finding a platform, but that was something I had to pay out of pocket to be able to offer that. And then with Personal Capital, this is a free service that you can sign up for. The only thing you gotta do, you sign up, you sync all of your accounts together. And then once you do that, you can see exactly what you have. You can see all of your assets. You can basically produce your own net worth statement. They also have other tools like retirement planners that you can also use. But for the sake of what, step one of doing this financial inventory is we want to see exactly what we have. Also, you can add any debts, any credit cards, your mortgage, any personal loans. Like you can also add those here as well. So then you get a true sense of what you are working with. Now, if there is one disclaimer or gotcha with Personal Capital is that, they do offer this free on the front end, but after you sign up, they do have financial advisors that will reach out to you, trying to work with you, basically trying to get you to invest with them. And they're not a bad platform to work with. So don't feel like that's a bad thing. Maybe you take that first call and then after that, you just ignore the calls. I know I've signed up for them. I get calls from them occasionally, straight to voicemail. That's where I send them. But Personal Capital, that will allow you to get your net worth statement and to be able to do a financial inventory. So that is step one. And really like what I'm looking for, like the main thing that I'm looking for with doing this step one is I want to know obviously how much you have, but also how much you owe. What debts are we dealing with? What debts do we have? Because as we approach retirement, as we are in retirement, and we don't want to have any debt, like we don't want to be on the hook for any sort of payment because we just want to like bring money in and we want to use that for the things that we want to do or, pay for those necessities of our bills. But as far as like having to pay off like credit card debt or any other debt, even a home mortgage, like we want to do our best to make sure that that is all addressed before retirement. So that is step one. Step two is we are going to produce a cash flow statement. I want to know how much is coming in and also how much is going out. And we're going to do one for right now, like what is our current cash flow statement? And we also, to the best of our ability, want to do a projected cash flow statement. And so how do we do a projected one? Like that's probably like a common question I get, from people like, well, how do I even know? Well, we don't really know, right? Like a projection is a best guess. Like this is a guesstimate. So we are going to look at our current situation, our current cash flow statement, and then anticipate, okay, of these expenses that we're currently paying, are these ones that we're going to have later on in retirement? Like, do we plan on having these in the next 10 years? And also, like, is there anything that we won't have? And then also, to the best of our ability, trying to project, like, which ones could we have? Is there some health insurance? Maybe it's a retirement living, just talking with other people, just trying to do our own research to get an idea of what that may be. But it's important because I talk to so many people that, budgeting is just something that is often overlooked. And, budgeting sounds, it's not a lot of fun. It sounds like it could be potentially a lot of work. But if we are trying to truly forecast and get a good sense of how much we need in retirement, it's not so much about like, what is the big number on what we need? Like, do we need $1 million or $500,000? What we're trying to identify is like, how much do we need month to month? We got to start there. And the only way that we can start there is looking at where we are right now. And for many, like this is just being real and honest with ourselves to see what we're actually spending our money on, because they're typically, working with people over the years, there is of their total spending, and I'm just going to ballpark here, but like 30% of how much they spend per month is unaccounted for. What does that mean? That means that all the money that people are spending money on with electricity and groceries and eating out and entertainment, they don't realize 30% of what they spend, like they don't even realize like they're spending that amount of money. It's just because it's like, oh, it's like another monthly subscription. Oh, it's like to the grocery store, or I went shopping, or went on Amazon and, Amazon Prime. It's so easy just to start buying things that we lose track of how much we are really spending. So this is imperative that we get a sense of where we're at right now. And that will allow us to get a better sense of where we're going to be or could be in the next 10 years. And the other part of this is knowing, as far as like potential retirement income. Now I'm looking also at projections on Social Security. How much is Social Security going to be for Sherry when she is 67? Is that going to be her benefit? Is there a survivor's benefit that's going to allow her to have more? Is there any sort of pension that she has or her husband had that she'll be able to draw from? Looking at the annuity, she has the option that she can take that out in 2.5 years. But if she were to hold that until 67, would that then increase each and every year? Because typically how annuities work is every year you don't touch it, it typically will increase. So you get a higher benefit, very similar to Social Security. So is that the case with this annuity? And if so, what does that look like projection wise? How does that look like? Okay, she can draw it in 2.5 years, but if she were to wait until 67, does that mean that it will be that much more? Like these are all the types of projections that we can do, just based off, her age and what we have. And if we don't know, we can make calls, like call the insurance company that's holding the annuity to see, all right, I need a projection on how much this is going to be worth, over the next 10 years. All right, so on to step 3. What is step 3 of this? So once again, going back to Sherry's original question, advice for a widow, 57, wants to retire in 10 years, has an annuity she can draw out 2.5 years. She's not sure what to do at that time. So this really should be step 1, but it's trying to identify, what is the want or what is your why behind your retirement goal. She says this word, and I want to highlight this, right? I mean, going back to uncertainty, this word right here of hopefully, hopefully I can retire. because I don't know if I really can. I am scared, you know what, that I'm not going to be able to. I mean, there's a lot of uncertainty, a lot of fear in that word, hopefully. I hopefully can retire and hopefully I don't screw it up. Hopefully I don't run out of money. I mean, you can see like you can go in so many different directions. So with step 3 of identifying like what is the want and also what is your why behind retirement, as far as like not behind retirement, I know why you want to retire, sorry, what is the why behind when you want to retire, retire in 10 years, because oftentimes like we pick a date or an age because that's just what other people do, like that's more or less like the status quo. And maybe she's had friends that retired, at 67, maybe other people, maybe her coworkers, like that's what she's hearing, maybe other family members. But the truth is that it could be a possibility that she could retire sooner if she wanted. Now, I don't know that for sure, but after we do a net worth statement, after we put together, the cash flow statement and just look at everything, and then also trying to address the why. What is the why behind the retirement? Like, what do you plan on doing? What does retirement look like for you? Oftentimes people don't take the time to even think about that. They just pick, once again, that age or that date based on what they hear, what other people are saying. At the end of it, it's like, man, what do you want to do? Like, what does it look like? When you wake up each and every day in retirement, like, what's going to put a smile on your face? Like, what is going to give you purpose, going to give you life, going to give you meaning? And one of the reasons why I don't start there, because like that's a deep question. That's a deep question. And usually when you start going down that path of trying to answer those questions, you're met with a lot of resistance, a lot of fear, the uncertainty. And to the best of your ability, just try to block that out. I don't care what comes up. I don't care what fear comes up, like what voices come up. Answer that question. Like, what does it look like for you? What do you want to do? What do you want your retirement to look like? Like, what is a perfect day for you in retirement? And once you're able to identify what that is to the best of your ability, then we can reverse engineer and start working backwards and see, because the beauty is like, okay, maybe 10 years is the right timeline, for Sherry. Maybe that is right. But if we do some work, if we run some numbers, do some projections and run some forecasts, I mean, 10 years is enough time that we can make a few tweaks to how much she's saving, how she's investing, when to take the annuity, when not to take the annuity. We can make some small tweaks where she might be able to retire much sooner. Don't know for sure. Once again, I have very, very limited information, but it could be a potential if we do a little bit of work and identify, once again, all the things I've just addressed. As a last resource, I just want to refer you to a video that I did. This was earlier this year, and I did a campaign with USAA. So this video, which was 2 types of people that struggle with retirement, I'll have a link in the description show notes that you can check out. So this was a sponsored video, and USAA is a company I've partnered with for a number of years. Enjoy working with them. What I'm recommending now, like I'm not getting paid to mention this, but I know since I'm not a practicing advisor anymore, I always love to give resources for people that, have retirement questions. So when working with USAA, they put up this page that you can go to called usaa.com/Jeff Rose. A link is in the description of this video. I'll also have it here in this video and podcast as well. But this will take you to a page. And the reason I want to bring this up is that they give you the ability, if you have any retirement questions, you can call them. It is free. Obviously, they're going to try to sell you their services on the back end, but they will answer any retirement questions that you have. They really focus on retirement income, but you can talk to somebody. It is a financial professional. They will answer all your questions, and I've heard nothing but good things about this. So don't feel like you're going to get barraged and forced into something that you don't want to be in. I would not have partnered with them if I didn't think so. But just want to make this as a available resource, because oftentimes people want to call somebody. They don't know who to call. Unfortunately, I'm not a practicing advisor anymore. I say unfortunately. I say unfortunately because, I wish I could help people in this situation, but there are other people out there that are just as qualified, if not more qualified, to help you out. And USAA is one of those. So once again, you can go to usaa.com/Jeff Rose if you want to check that out. There's also a toll-free number there that you can call if you need somebody to call and just talk about your retirement questions. All right, y'all. Hope you enjoyed this podcast. Once again, if you have a question, go to wealthhackerlabs.com/ask, and you can ask your question that can potentially be featured on a future podcast. Until next time, this is Jeff Rose reminding you that it's your money, it's your life, and only you can make it awesome. Until next time, peace.